Make sure that you try to follow most of the steps that I have. I don't need to see everything for the test, but I need to see some work. If you just write down an answer, you're only going to get partial credit. Show me something. Put a wall in. Even though this is not an equal sign, it's a greater than sign, put in a wall, circle the side that the variable's on. Your job is to try and get the variable alone. Yep. That will always be up here. If you ever panic, just look up here. It says get the variable alone. That's your job. Don't worry about the answer. The answer will happen. What do you want to get rid of in this balloon over here?
The negative.
Start with the addition and subtraction. Show me the cancellation. The reason you did that was to get rid of something. Show me what you're getting rid of. What do I do with the negative 11?
Multiply by negative 11. I mean divide by negative 11.
Divide by negative 11, both sides. This goes away. What's our one extra rule when we're doing inequalities? What happens when you divide or multiply by a negative? Circle this. Circle this. What happened? Switches direction. Instead of pointing this way, now it's pointing this way because you divided by a negative. If you multiply or divide by a positive, nothing changes. But if you multiply, or divide by a negative, reverse the symbol. What's 55 divided by a negative 11? You get negative 5 out of that? On some of the questions on your test, you're going to be required to put this on a number line. So let's do that underneath. Let's make a number line. If I ask you to sketch something, all I need is 3 numbers. Put the number that's in the problem right in the center. What's a little bit lower than negative 5? Negative 6. So it's a little bit higher. Negative 4. I just need a couple numbers. Should this be an open circle or a closed circle for less than? Open. That means that negative 5 isn't really in the answer. It's just the boundary of the answer. And this is saying, give me all the y's that are less than negative 5. Where are all the numbers less than negative 5? Put little y's over here. On your test, I don't need to see that. I don't need to see these little y's. That's just to represent or remind you that every single number in this black area with this arrow is a possible y. So test out one of them to see if this works. Put this number into here. Is negative 6 less than negative 5? That's your check. If you want to check over your work, you take one of these numbers over here. You could take negative 5.5. You could take negative 6. Anything over here. Do I want to try negative 5? No, because that's an open circle. It's not part of the answer. Only everything this way is part of the answer. Number 2. What should you do first?
Distribute.
Distribute. Do I distribute with that?
No.
No, just bring that down. Combine what you can. Put your wall in. If anything's on the same side of the wall, you can combine it. So let's combine negative 20 plus 7. What is that? I still have my 12x. Now I've got minus 13. This is still greater than or equal to. What do you do when you have x's on both sides?
Take the smaller x.
If this was an equation, I would just automatically take the smaller of the x's and move it around. Some people like to move the x to the left. That's probably a good idea when you're dealing with inequalities. It makes it a little bit easier to graph it when you're through. This goes away. I'm left with 3. I'm left with 4x minus 13. Now it looks a little bit simpler. Circle the side with the variable. Your job is to get x by itself. What are you going to do?
Plus 13.
I got to get rid of that 13. Show the cancellation. How do I get rid of the 4? Show that. Some questions on the test will end right there. That would be your answer. Other questions on Monday's test will require you to draw a number line. Most of the time you're provided the number line, but if you have to sketch it, just give me 3 numbers. Would this be an open or closed circle? Closed. This has got the little line underneath, so we're going to darken that in. All that means is that 4 is a possible answer. Where are all the x's bigger than 4?
On the right.
On the right. So let's make this dark. What does that mean? It means that everything this way is a possible x. 6, 7, 8, 9. All of those would work. So let's try out something. Try out 5. Is 5 bigger than or equal to 4?
Yes.
So we're okay. You test out something. If it doesn't work, then you probably should have went in the other direction. Page 2. Special cases.
So this whole package is what we have first.
Yes. Anything we do. We don't have time for extras. Anything we do is going to be on the test and it's going to be on the SOL.
And these are the things that are special cases where it's on the qualities, no fault.
That's going to be probably one section of the test.
Just for going, are these notes everyone's confused?
Eventually, yes. Right now, what you're going to be seeing online would be the study guides. What I'll be putting online would be the PowerPoint for this. But it wouldn't. Right now, you see the red line? This is recording right now. So the video for this will be online. That mic only picks up my voice, though. So you'll hear a lot of mumbling. Page 2. Special cases. Distributes. If I try to get rid of one of those x's, what happens to all the x's? They disappear. Do we like that? All the x's went away. We're left with -3 greater than -10. Just like with equal signs, we have to decide, is this true or false? This is,
True.
think about a number line. Is -3 closer to 0?
Yes.
Yeah. -10 would be further to the left. If it's further to the left, it's less than. So -3 is bigger than that. What does that mean?
Infinite solution.
Infinite solutions. -3 is greater than -10. Why don't I show a number line for this? Because the entire number line is the answer. Every single number on the number line works. So we don't have to show it. That's one special case. And if you're missing something today, watch the video online. Eventually it will be on School Fusion by the end of today. Ethan? Yeah. Looks like another special case because all of my x's are vanishing. Look at that statement. Is 6 less than a negative number?
No, that's false.
It's a false situation. And that means no solution at all. No matter what number I put in for x, I'm never going to get a true statement. Next page. Does the next page say practice, practice, practice?
Yes.
Why don't you do these 3 problems right now? Try these 3. Some of the test is as easy as this, where I hand you an equation or an inequality, and you work it out. But the majority of the test is going to be like the study guides. We did one study guide last class. You saw there were word problems, a lot of word problems. That's what you're expected to know by the time we get to the end of the year.
Can you figure out number one, please?
For these 3, yes. For the other practice, no. Friend, can you come up and do this one? I'm going to be calling people to the board to work on problems. You have to come to the board at least once during the year. Look at number 1. Do we like what he did? Did you cancel 18? Looks right. He divided by -5. Notice what happened to the symbol. It switched. If you divide or multiply by a negative, that's going to switch. So that's okay. That's what we wanted to see. That's a perfectly good answer. If I was going to put that on a number line, would it be an open or closed circle? Open?
Open.
Where are all the y's, or where are all the numbers less than -14?
On the left.
This way. So darken that in. What does this mean? This means that there's a lot of solutions all the way in that direction, but not the other direction. Is negative 14 a solution? No. Negative 14 is an open circle, so it's not actually part of the solution. It's just the boundary of the solution. I need a volunteer for the next one. Noah. Wow. What's he going to do to start off with for number 2? Distributes. Some people have been asking me, is that a negative 10 or a positive 10? If it's got a subtraction sign in front of it, that's subtraction, that's a negative sign. It's everything that you think it is. It's both subtraction and a negative sign. So he's going to do negative 6 times negative 10. Negative 6 times negative 10. Just put a plus through there. There you go. What about negative 6 times 2x? Include the x with it. Put the x right after the 12. Yep. And then put the plus 12x, because nothing happened to that. Bring that down.
Bring this down.
That's our next. Bring that down next to it. And write out the rest, because nothing changed on that side. Where are all the x's at this point? Left side or right side? Left side. What can he do with the minus 12x and the plus 12x?
Cross them out.
Cross them out. They're just being combined. Minus 12x plus 12x is 0x. What's left on that side? 60. Write down 60. Is it still the same symbol? Did we multiply or divide by a negative? No. So the symbol's the same. Less than or equal to. Did anything happen to the 180? No. Is that a true statement? Is 60 less than or equal to 180?
Yeah.
So this is a true statement. What does that mean? Infinite solutions.
You want me to write that?
Yep. Thank you. And this was a true statement, true inequality. For number 3, x is on the left. I get rid of the 12. I got rid of the 4. X is greater than 8. Turn to the very last page. you're going to see many more translations, word problems than you ever have in arithmetic classes back in middle school or last year. You're not going to see many bare equations handed to you. You're going to see problems like example 5. 5 minus 6 times a number is more than 4 times the number plus 45. Write down what you think that looks like as an inequality. Everybody, do that right now. Turn to the last page. Five minus 6 times a number. Don't try to do it. Excuse me. Don't try to do it all at once. Break it up into little pieces. How would you write that? What's the first thing you would write?
5 minus 6.
Does it have to be X? Could you put N? Or Y? What I recommend you do is whenever you see the words a number, put a little variable above it. Everywhere that appears, you're going to put a variable into the problem. 5 minus 6 times a number, all of that became the 6x. What about the word is? Equal. Then we have 4 times the number plus 45. What do I do when I see the number? That's an X. 4 times the number is 4x plus 45. So the 45 is there. 4 times the numbers right there. Plus right there. Okay. Oh, thank you. What should be right here?
More than. So it's 5 minus 6 more than.
So what should go there? That better? So go ahead and rewrite example 6. Try example 6. 2 more than half of a number is greater than 27. Let's see if it looks like what I came up with. These next 2 days are the practice days for you. I can stand up here and do these all day long because I have my diploma, as far as you know. Yes. Looks good. For the next set of words, I would have something that looks like this. If you have half of a number, you can write it like that, or you can write it like this. Did anybody do it this way? That is also correct. You can do 2 more than half a number is greater than 27. Yes.
Oh, never mind.
If you say more than, that's the same as saying plus. So right here, more than. Right here. Greater than. All of those are equal answers. But which one do you think you might see show up on the SOL in a multiple choice question? Maybe the first one, maybe the second one. Either one could show up, they mean the same thing. Because what's in front of that X?
A 1.
Do I have to have it there? No. Question?
I was gonna say, I did X divided by 2 plus 2. Did you do that?
That would have been written a slightly different way. They wanted that separate, not as the same bracket. That takes care of our inequalities practice. Study guide 2. Put this with study guide 1. Right now, I want you to try questions 7 through 11. Right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions. Practice. This is a study guide, not for me, but for you. Work with a partner if you wanted to. You know that since this is the study guide, something like this is going to show up.
You add 2. Both sides. Add 2.
If you look at front board, Fritz is going to do one way to do this problem. There's a couple ways to do this. Just going to show one. You have to start with some distribution.
Yeah, and like the whole thing's being attacked.
Do we like that so far?
Yes.
Yes. She did -2 times -4 and got a positive 8.
It is off that.
I'm not like
We can talk about it.
yeah, well, anyway. I was really eating like
She chose, please listen, she chose to move the 2x. That's okay. Some people might have chose to, hold on just for a second, let me back that up. You don't, just cancel out those 2. Now, over here, circle that. The way she's doing it, her x is on the right. You might have done it with the x on the left. You're going to get the same answer. It'll just look a little bit different. All right, leave it like that. Thank you. As soon as I start talking, conversations have to stop. You have to be looking up here. This is one way to do this. She chose to deal with those 2 and get rid of that. She ended up with 7x on this side. That means that her x is going to be on the right-hand side. How many of you ended up with the x over here? Did you get 3 greater than x? If you graph that, that will look like this.
Oh, yeah, we have to grab it.
Open circle. Which one is being pointed at? The 3 or the X?
3.
It's pointing at the X,
Okay.
which means that it's smaller. The X is smaller. Here's another way to do this one. Everybody needs to listen. You didn't have to get rid of the minus 2x. You could have done this. How many people subtracted 5x? Did anybody do that? What happens when you divide by a negative? It changes this to the opposite direction. This goes away. What's a negative divided by a negative? This is the same thing as this. The only difference is that the x is over here. As long as it's still being pointed towards, it's the same problem. Those mean exactly the same thing. So it doesn't matter which one you get rid of. If you get rid of this one, you're going to get the right answer. If you get rid of this one, you're going to get the right answer. That is the same thing. That's the right answer. That's the right answer. If you graph either one of them, it's going to look like this. So be careful. On a standardized test, on the SOL test, you might see this as an answer. That's the same as your answer if you got it this way. Or vice versa. If you see this, it means the same exact thing as this. I need somebody up front to try this. Right? Choose the color pen of your choice. Which side is the G on? Left or right? Left. So just keep it there. There's no need to move that around. There's only one G up there. Nobody's doing.
No, he's been here.
Yes. All right, back that up. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me see. Stop for a second. I just wanted to show each individual step. I don't have everybody's attention though. During the lesson, everybody has to be focused. You're going to have some time to chat when you're working on your assignment. What should she do next? Is the G all by itself? So we want to get to that point. So show me how you show that. How do you get rid of the 4? Try to separate it. Put it a little bit higher. Put the dot up here. Put it right next to it. Don't put a G in.
Okay.
Hit that back. There you go. Because we want the G. We just want to get rid of the 4. So just put 4. Do the same thing on the other side. What happens to the 4s? Cancel. Cancel out the 4s. Does the symbol change? Put it next to my G up there. See my G at the bottom?
Oh.
Put it next to it. Thank Why did I darken in the circle? And why did I go in this direction?
Either way.
Because all of these numbers in here, all the little decimals, are potential G's. So let's try one. Let's try this one and put it in here. Is negative 49 less than or equal to negative 48?
Yes.
Yes, so that checks out.
48 would be in there too.
48 could also be an answer because it's darkened in. I'm jumping to number 10. Go to number 10. They're showing you a problem that's already been done. You've got a circle and you've got an arrow. Don't have everybody's attention.
Got it.
Lately, the SOL tests have been giving you completed questions and saying, do you know what you're looking at? So you're not just going through problems and churning out answers. You're looking at other answers and saying, what does this mean? If you see this, this means that some variable, let's put an X over here, put that next to the number line. That means that all of this area in here are potential X's. They could be the answer. Can negative 2 be the answer with an open circle? If it's open, it's not part of the answer. So cross it out. That's not what we want. Where is negative 4 on the number line? To the left or the right? Left. So put negative 4 in here. Put negative 6 over here. Is this part of the answer? Is that where this arrow is? No. Cross those out. Where is 0, 5, 7, and 12? That's over here. 0, 5, 7, 12. Those are answers because they're part of this black line that's already there. Be careful. Open circle, not part of the answer. Everything to the right in this case is part of the answer. Question 11. Before you write out the equation or the inequality, just write it above the letters and the numbers that are inside the actual statement. So I'm going to write 9 right here. What does times mean?
Multiplication.
What do we put for a number?
X. Variable.
Decreased by 4.
Minus.
Minus
4.
4. What am I going to put for that?
The sign was underneath. Whoa. There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
And then 23.
And then 23. So let's put it all together. We have 9 times x decreased by 4 is at least. When we say at least, we use a greater than or equal to, and then we put our 23. It's at least 23, but it could be bigger, which is why we use the greater than. Can you solve something like that?
Yes.
Yes, you can. The last piece of this test guide is a perimeter problem. What is perimeter? What does that mean?
Around.
Around the outside of an object.
Yeah.
There is, the word perimeter does not show up here. The word fence does. Somewhere around fence, write down the word perimeter. Below it, above it, anywhere close to it. How do you figure out the perimeter of a rectangle? If it's length times width. How do you find the total of the outside? If that's L, what's that? L. If that's W, what's that? W. How many W's do you have?
2.
How many L's do you have?
2.
So 2L plus 2W is going to get you your perimeter. But what is the maximum perimeter that we can do? How many feet of fencing do we have?
5. Or 40.
40. If that's the maximum, that means that it has to either be equal to it or less than it. We can't go beyond 40, right? So it must be less than 40. Do we know the length or the width in the problem? Does it tell us this? The width is 5, so put that in. We have 2L plus 10 less than 40. Can you guys solve an inequality like that?
Yes.
We don't know a whole lot right now. So what I show you on these test guides is what's going to show up on the test. You know there'll be a fenced-in perimeter problem. You know it'll probably be a rectangle. You know it'll probably be this formula. And you have to have more, you have to have some information. I can't give you 2 variables at this point. We don't learn what to do with 2 variables until second or third quarter. How do I deal with 2L plus 10 less than or equal to 40?
Divide by, subtract 10.
That goes away. Less than 30, how do I get rid of the 2?
Divide by 2.
Divide by 2. So L is less than or equal to 15. What does L stand for?
Length.
The length. What question is being asked?
What can be the maximum length of the fence?
L can be a lot of stuff. It's saying L is either less than or equal to 15. So what's the biggest L could be?
15.
Max length is 15. That's your actual answer. This is the inequality that helps you find that answer. There will be no surprises on the test. What we go over in class is what you're going to see. Later on, you're going to have more possibilities because we're going to know more. Right now, we don't know a whole lot. Stick with what we've been going over. What's the last thing on our agenda today?
Solving for a variable when we have more than one variable.
Yes. Has anybody ever seen this formula before?
Yes. Oh, God.
This is probably the most important thing we're going to do this year.
Oh, yeah.
This little worksheet. We're not doing them all, so don't do them all. Wait for directions. Stick with me for 10 more minutes, and then you can start your homework. At the top of the paper. As soon as I start talking, conversations have to stop. You have to be looking forward. At the top of the paper, you have a little band, a little space at the top. Write that equation down. D equals R times T. Anybody remember what that stands for? What's D? Nope. Distance.
Oh, distance and then, yeah.
Nope.
Time.
This is
Distance.
This will come up quite a bit this year. If you take a physics course, you'll see that. How many variables are there? Three. We got a D, we got an R, we got a T. No numbers involved. It doesn't matter. If I tell you to solve for T, what does it say on the sideboard?
If the variable alone.
Your job is just to get that variable all by itself, whatever it takes. So this is what we want. Still competing with conversations. If I want T all by itself, what do I need to get rid of from this side?
R.
How do you get rid of things that are right next to the variable?
Do the opposite of what is next.
All right, what if it looked like this? What if it was 50 equals 10t? How would you get rid of the 10?
Divide by 10.
You divide by 10. There's no difference here. The only difference is you're going to end up doing less work. So instead of dividing by 10, I'm going to divide by r. What happens to the r's?
It crosses them out.
Crosses them out. Didn't I do the 10 on both sides? Well, I've got to do the division by r on both sides. The only difference is I'm done. I can't do anything with the d and r. I'm just trying to get that variable by itself. Have I done that?
Yes.
I'm through. This is useful now if I want to do a problem in a physics class where I'm looking for time. Now I have a nice formula for time, where before I had a formula for d, which was distance. You'll be doing this with pressure and temperature in some of your science classes. We'll take a look at that formula on Thursday. This is important because instead of just dealing with the type of questions that are on this page, which are kind of made-up questions, just for practice, in your science classes, you'll be doing the same thing, but with equations that actually have a use. Let's take a look at 13. How many variables are floating around in this? 2. I don't want 2. Which one do I want?
Y.
So down here, put the y all by itself. Your job is to get the variable alone. You do whatever it takes. You use the same rules as if there were numbers. There just happen to be more variables floating around. So what do I have to get rid of from this side so I just have a y there?
3x.
Minus 3x. This is easier than all the rest of the problems that you're going to do because you're going to do less work. All you're going to do is cancel something out, and I can't do anything with this, so I just write it. I can't really do 9 minus 3x because it's not like terms. I just leave it. Is the y by itself yet?
No.
How do I get rid of that?
Oh, divide by 2.
Divide by 2. You divide the whole side by 2. This goes away. This could be your answer. 9 minus 3x over 2. Is the y by itself? Yes. I'm done. But underneath, you've got a lot of space underneath here. We're going to put different versions of this answer. That's one version. Is everything being divided by 2?
Yeah.
So I could write it this way. Put a box around that. That could be the answer. When you're graphing, don't you normally see it in this order? Isn't it normally like this? Isn't the x off to the left and then you have a number to the right? This could be your answer. All 3 of those are possible answers. You've got to know that they mean the same thing. Because you might find one of them and the answer on a standardized test might look different. You've got to be able to jump in between all 3 of those. That's going to be the hard part of this year, is that there's 4 or 5 different answers that look the same. Couldn't I change all of those into decimals? Those could all be decimals. This is why this test takes me a long time to correct, because everybody has different answers, but they're all correct. So you're doing less work in the problem, but you might have to think a little bit more at the end of the problem. Skip to, let's see, let's take a look at question 17. (17) is m equal to 2/5 y plus n. The important part of this is the last part. How many variables are in this equation? 3. Well, which one is important to me?
Y.
This one is asking for y. It could have asked for m. It could have asked for n. Sideboard says get the variable alone. So I need this. I need that y all by itself. Circle that side. Your job is to get rid of stuff until the y is by itself. How would you start? What would you get rid of? The 2/5 or the n?
The n.
Show me the cancellation. What's left over here?
2/5 y.
I can't do anything over here, so I just write it. M minus n. I'm doing less work in the actual equation. How do you normally get rid of 2/5 that's right next to the y?
Multiply by the reciprocal.
Reciprocal. Flip it. Same thing over here, but watch what I do. Everything's getting multiplied, so it's distribution. It's not just 5/2 times m, it's 5/2 times everything on that side. That could be your answer. The answer might just be this. Is y all by itself? Did we get the variable alone?
Yes.
Yes, that could be your answer. Or, what if I actually do the distribution? It could be this. That could be the answer. So be careful when you're looking at multiple choice tests. Your answer might look different, but they're actually the same thing. For the remaining time, there is a group of problems on here that we did not do. Do those. There's more practice on here. Did we do every problem on this sheet? How much is left on here? 3. Do those. You're responsible to finish this and to finish the last 3 problems on here. What we're going to do on Thursday, I will give you all the answers to the packet and to the rest of this last sheet. And we'll do a test blueprint. As of right now, we've covered everything on the Unit 2 test. We just got to go over some practice problems and one more study guide. And that's it. You got 20-some minutes, 25 minutes to work with other people on all the problems we did not do in the packet and on this sheet. Almost everybody's here except for Charissa.